Hi everyone. I very badly flagged live today because I normally go on Thursday live, which you may have remembered from the last few weeks. But I've had one of those weeks that's kind of gotten away from me. So in my head, it's effectively Thursday because I'm so behind on what I'm doing and all of the rest of it. But I couldn't finish the week without popping in and kind of saying hello to all of you and seeing how you were all doing. Hey everyone, thank you for joining me, seeing all the faces popping up there. If you have any questions that you want to throw on up into the comments there, I'm happy to answer them. I usually, whether it's in here, hey Sue, nice to see you. I usually get a question at some point, either in the live or in the questions afterwards about what I'm wearing. So I thought before I got started, I would actually just tell you, this is Landscape Waves. It is a cardigan it was in Blue Moon Fibre Arts. They're one of the heavier yarns, but it's what stays in my head is the fact that the yarn color is Pond Scum. They've got some of the best names. So yeah, Pond Scum, and the name of the pattern is Landscape Waves. So how is everyone doing this week? Are you enjoying I don't know if you're like me, I'm winding down a little bit because thank you for helping your husband with the book shipment. Oh, excellent. I'm delighted it came in. Yes, the postage is so erratic at the moment. Some people are getting post in 4 or 5 days, and others it could be several weeks. So if a shipment doesn't show up, or if the tracking looks like it disappeared when it left Ireland, don't panic. It's just sometimes I think that the tracking in between isn't updated, that it's still moving along the system, but that for whatever reason it's not being scanned as regularly as it should be scanned, which means that it looks for all intents and purposes like it's disappeared, but it hasn't really. So yeah, shipping can be a little bit funny with the postal system. I'm waiting for something myself coming from the States, and it's making a very interesting roundabout trip. It went from New York over to Belgium, and then since the 25th it's just apparently said it's moved on somewhere, but nothing else is updated since then. So I'm kind of holding fast and hoping that it's going to appear at some point. You're knitting your second Mendel, an oldie but goodie. Oh, that is an oldie one. That Mendel was one of the first sweaters that I knit using the seamless set and sleeve technique, and it was a really reasonable knit, the first one I did, because I did it in a sock yarn, and I think it only took a couple of skeins of sock yarn, a budget sock yarn, but it was, I still really like it, and it might be something I should probably revisit at some point, because it's really lightweight stretchy fabric, and there's knitted in gathers along one side and along the sleeves, and then the front of it has got increases coming up here, so it's kind of got a draped neck up here. It's still up to here, but it's kind of got little folds at the front. It was one I originally knit for my sister for work, because she wanted something lightweight for in the office that looked a little bit dressy and presentable, that was suitable for office work. So yeah, check out Mendel if you want to find an oldie but goodie, so to speak. So one thing I wanted to say to you this week is I'm off on holidays for a couple of days after today. I've taken, because in Ireland, Easter Monday, which is next Monday, is a bank holiday anyway, so I've added a couple of days onto that. So I'm taking from Saturday through to Wednesday off, like properly, officially off. So if you email me, you'll get email responder, and I'll answer after I come back at the end of that. And if you place an order online, all orders will be shipped from the Thursday when I come back. Now, obviously anything digital, that still comes out the same way, because it's an automatic, they're automatic downloads that are sent out. I feel like I've been working flat out for several weeks or several months, and I just need to come back down to earth, and kind of settle and regroup and be ready to go on the other side. So it coincided with some nicer weather, although I think it's meant to get cold again. But it just meant that I wanted to spend a little bit of time outside, and I think I might even brave the garden furniture and attempt to repaint it. I've got some really nice terracotta paint and a mint green for the side of the shed. So if I can persuade my husband to come paint it with me, and if the weather cooperates, we'll hopefully get at least one of those painted. So it should be fun. Now, today, one of the things that happened is, well, any of you who are on the knitting masterclass will know that the first lesson of the knitting masterclass went live today. So if you got access to it, you'll know that the first lesson was on seaming, because often it was one of those topics I just wanted to get it done and out of the way and covered before we moved on, because seaming can be a pretty hot topic. Anyone who's not a knitter and is listening in is just looking at me going, like, what is she talking about? But it tends to be very divisive, because sometimes people assume because I do so many seamless knits that I really dislike seaming. And that's actually not really true. I have nothing personally against seaming. In fact, I quite like the look of a seam in a garment. So it's nothing to do with not liking seams. Is that for me, seamless, usually I find it easier to get a good fit. But sometimes there are cases where you really want to have seams in a garment for whatever it might be. Maybe it was a style that you like and it just feels like it needs to be a bit more structured. And if you've been avoiding those type of garments because you're either afraid of seaming or you're not happy with the way your seams turn out, then the class should help. So in the class, anyone who's got an email went out to you today, or if you didn't get an email, you can still just log into the Teachable website. So we're taking a look at shoulder seams, first of all, where it's stitch with stitch, like bind off with bind off. Then it goes on to taking a look at side seams. So you've got rows with rows. Then I'm showing you how I seam a set-in sleeve in. So you've got a mixture of all sorts of stuff there, because you start off with rows and stitches, and then you go down to decreases, and then you finally got a bind off at the underarm area. So there's a little bit of everything with a set-in sleeve. And what I've done in the class is, if you want to practice through some of these techniques, it's usually helpful to have some kind of a swatch to work on. While I didn't necessarily want to go ahead and put a pattern for a swatch in there, I thought a baby cardigan that was seamed was going to be useful. So let me show you here. This itty bitty little baby cardigan is the pattern that I've put in for the class. So this is done, I did it in the Blosta yarn, but if you've got any kind of a worsted or a DK weight yarn or something like that, it's going to work fine. So very strange, because I can't remember the last time I've done a seamed garment. I've called this one, it's called Sweet Pea. So you've got each of the fronts, and you've got the back, and then each of the sleeves with the set-in sleeve are all done flat. So if you want to have something to practice on while you're working through the finishing knits, then you can just go ahead and knit this, and then you can practice all of those different seaming techniques in a nice small little scale like this. If you haven't joined the finishing class yet, you can still jump in. You'll get the first lesson, and over the next 5 weeks after this, there's going to be a new lesson every Friday will be uploaded. And you get to keep these forever. They're up there to access. So as you go through with different finishing things that you're going to need to work on, you can just come back and reference to them. There's also, you'll see when you go into the enrollment, there's two options. There's the standard masterclass enrollment, and then there's also the masterclass with Zoom. There's still a couple of spots in that, but I'll be closing it in a day or two. And what that is it's the full video class online, but then in addition to that, there's 2 Zoom lessons that will be happening after week 3 and after week 5, where we can go through in more detail any of the specific techniques that you want to hear more about, or if you have got something you're working on and you'd like to bring it to the class and talk about it, the specific project. But anyone who's joined up on that, anyone who's joined into that one, I'll be sending messages out about that. But there is still time to join in that, but like sometime mid this week, I'll be closing that one off. Kim, you've just watched your first class. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Good. It's always quite tricky when you're doing a video class, because I'm teaching into a void. I'm trying to preempt the kind of topics that people would like to hear about, and the best way to put it together so it makes sense. And just as importantly, that when you come back afterwards and you want one specific technique, you can easily find it and you don't have to wade through, a 30-minute video. So it's mainly, most of the videos are between like 5 and 10 minutes long, and they've got very specific subjects that each of them cover. So, and that is for ease of use afterwards when you come back, which I think makes it a little easier. Now, if you want to get that class or any of my other teachable classes, you can use, just for this weekend, because it's Easter special, use Easter 15 and you'll get a 15% discount off of my online classes. So you can pop into the profile, and on the top of the profile you'll see video classes. And when you click in there, it's currently linked into the masterclass, but when you go up to the top, you can drop down. Kim, you always use backstitch. Yeah, backstitch can work, but I think mattress stitch gives a much tidier finish from the front. I've been happier for the most part with mattress stitch, and it's easier to, and you can, because you're working from the front of the work, you can also see much more easily if it's working neatly, you know. So that's what released today, and I think that's probably why I'm ready to go take a little bit of a break, because of the fact that I've reached the point where I've got the first class out, I've got most of the rest done, I've got maybe one more left to record, but almost all of the others have been recorded, and I've got bits up there, so they're kind of ready to get out. And next week when I come back, I have, let me show you here, basket of yarn to share with you. I've been having fun with that. This is the cotton yarn from Holland that I got in, and I've been putting together kits and color combinations and just playing with all of that, which is, it's great fun. It's like, it's a little bit like being given a crayon box, because I'm not used to having quite so many colors, particularly ones that are much, much brighter, because of course with Nua and also with Bloster, the colours are a little bit more subdued. There's a few brights, but for the most part, like with Nua, because it's over dyed on the yak, everything has got like a little more rustic tone to it. Whereas with this, because it's in cotton and it's mercerized cotton, it's bright, like just pops of colour. And maybe that's kind of what's cheered me up as well and made me feel all summery, is the combination of bright colours and sunshine. It's a good combination. So that's kind of me for before the holidays. Please do remember, if there's questions that you'd like answered in one of these lives, just send them on to me. Just send me a message here on Instagram or send me an email, whatever suits you best. And I'm really happy to kind of share stuff with you. Or if there's a garment you want me to talk about that you're getting ready to start knitting, or you're not sure how it's constructed and you'd like to see it up there, just yeah, by all means, just please drop me a message and let me know. All right, bye everyone.